Everybody was bashing on Worldcoin on the WLD token upon launch. Now the price action has changed. Why is that? Let's have a look at data most people are not considering. Let's dive into the on-chain metrics, as in who's currently buying. Is this small retail? Is this the whales? Is this everyone? Do we only have manipulation here, or do we actually have something fundamental going on? So let's find out how much longer this rally can last. Worldcoin was the best performer in the top 100 in the last week. It went up by 17% today. We are at $6.15. The gain in the last week is 33%. And since launch in July of last year, the price more than tripled. Of course, with a lot of ups and downs. Why do we suddenly see this rally recently? It's probably not due to leverage. Right now, the market is rather calm. Pretty much no asset currently has high borrowing costs. And that's a trend we already see for quite a while. But check this out. This is the OKX data, and it looks at the open position value in perpetual futures. And Worldcoin is pretty high up the list, given that in terms of market cap, it's only at rank 74. So where is all that speculation coming from? Why do we currently see this rally? Is this manipulation? To answer this question, I always like to look on-chain. I like to look at the transactions directly on the blockchain. There is, of course, also trading happening on the centralized exchanges, but we can't really look into those centralized exchanges. They are pretty much black boxes. But the blockchain is transparent. On the blockchain, we can see how much trading activity is there. Is this currently the large wallets that are accumulating? Is this the number of retail investors that is growing? What's actually driving the price? So there are two versions of the token. There is one token on the Ethereum blockchain. According to Etherscan, we've got 21,000 holders of the Ethereum-based Worldcoin token. We've got another version of the token on Optimism. So that's a layer 2 on top of Ethereum. Here we've got 3.6 million holders. Now this looks like the WLD token has way more capital on Optimism than directly on Ethereum, but that's actually not true. Check out the following. This is Ethereum and Optimism, the number of holders over time. This is, by the way, a tool that I've developed myself that I make available to the premium members. Feel free to check out the premium membership. You can plug in any token in this tool. On the left side, we see the number of wallets that hold at least 200 WLD tokens. So at the current price, that's a bit over $1,000. That's what I'd consider retail. And this is a 1-month chart. So the number of retail wallets grew by roughly 15 to 20% in the last month. In the middle, we've got medium-sized retail. Here now, the minimum holding threshold is a 10x from the left chart. So here we need at least a bit over $10,000 to be counted in this graph. The number of medium-sized retail grew by a bit more than 20%. On the right side, we've got the whale wallets. That's now another 10x. So that's more than $100,000 worth of WLD. That went from 234 to 271 holders. So even more growth. This is very, very uncommon. It's very uncommon to see accumulation across all boards, especially most accumulation by the whales. So there's more and more whales jumping onto WLD. Those are the charts on the Ethereum chain. Here are the same charts on the Optimism chain. And isn't that interesting, right? There were way more holders, millions of holders on Optimism. But once we put a minimum threshold here, the numbers that we see for each of those charts are actually lower compared to the numbers of holders on the Ethereum chain. Quite interesting. Still, we see accumulation across the board for all wallet cohorts. The whales that have massive money in this don't necessarily use Optimism. And the reason for this is probably that the liquidity pools aren't as large on Optimism. So when you've got very high amounts to transfer, then you rather take Ethereum. The gas fees don't really matter that much with those kinds of amounts. If you've got smaller amounts, then you tend to use Optimism because you don't pay gas fees. And the depth of the liquidity pool isn't that important. The slippage isn't that important when you don't move that much money. Still, accumulation everywhere. And so my impression is that this recent rally in the last 7 days might just be the beginning. Because again, we see this accumulation massively during the entire month. But in the last month, Worldcoin actually didn't do that great. So the price seems to be artificially depressed still. Why is that the case? Your guess is as good as mine. There is, of course, always the scare around the circulating supply of WLD, but it's very hard actually to find out how much WLD is actually circulating. There is very contradicting information around this. If you've got very reliable information on this, then please feel free to comment this down below. Any link to any reliable source is very much appreciated. I'll show you now what I have. So we've got token.unlocks.app. This does not look that pretty. So according to this website, we go from 1.4 billion to 3.4 billion within a year. This is very high token inflation. When we look at a June dashboard by the Worldcoin team, we see that the circulating supply is actually not always growing. There seems to be also some dips, but since beginning of the year, the circulating supply has roughly doubled. When we look at another June dashboard, we see that the number of total accounts, of total new accounts, has pretty much died down. So where is the circulating supply expansion coming from? It seems to not be free handouts to people getting their irises scanned. The market currently is very unclear. It's not very clear if you're going up or down from here. There's very contradicting information. The stablecoin market cap isn't growing as quickly as I hope to. Still, Bitcoin is above its best moving averages when you run backtests, etc. So I've got all kinds of different views on crypto as a whole. That being said, in case crypto recovers, I believe that Worldcoin does have a lot of upside potential. I personally also plan on buying some Worldcoin myself. I say I plan to, not I bought, because I never front run you guys. So I never buy a cryptocurrency beforehand to then afterwards promote it to the audience, to pump and dump on the audience. I don't believe that's an ethical approach to treat an audience. Unfortunately, it's been done way more often than I'd like to see. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish here regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. There's also a free Telegram. Feel free to check it out. It's completely free. Link is down below.